how you're giving away your power without even knowing it. Hi, I am your host, Sky Cheyenne, and welcome back once again to Rebuild Reality, where as always, we talk about who we really are, why we're here, and how all of this stuff works. Now, I really want to get on this topic today because this is how we are literally giving up our abilities, the superpowers that we have within us, without realizing that we're doing that. We're giving away our power of the incredible things that we're capable of. And I don't think any of us really want to do that, do we? So I think this begins by understanding, of course, that, and I think most of us do, that there are two worlds. There is the world of our Creator, which is the world of the divine, the one power, the one truth, the one belief, the one knowing and power above all things. And that never changes. The truth is always the truth. It always stays the same. Things don't come and go. It's just one wholeness, one unity, one truth of all things. But here in the created world, the dream world, the illusionary world, well, beliefs and truths always change. Just like the world, everything comes and goes, ebbs and flows, and constantly changes. So, of course, our belief in things from everything from, one end of the spectrum to the other are constantly changing. And they certainly have throughout history. I mean, we believed as humans, in some pretty crazy things if you look it up. Things like in the, the mid-1500s, when they believed that tobacco smoke was good for you because they understood it to be, when the Europeans first found it, from indigenous people, it was called a sacred herb. So they're like, well, it's got to be good because it was considered a sacred herb. So they begin to see it as a cure-all for everything, from the common cold to headaches to cancer. So they used to use it as a medicinal thing to cure people, including, interestingly enough, it was very popularly used to try to revive drowning victims. They would literally take a tube and literally, not figuratively, blow smoke up people's bums. Because they believed it would heal them. It would somehow revive them, because if someone's drowned, well, they're full of water. So now we need to not only get them full of air, but sacred herbal air. Well, of course, the problem with that is that, the water is in the lungs. It's not in the bum. But we've had all these crazy beliefs, and people truly believe that. I mean, the renowned medical people of the day, the most respected people of all, just like our scientists today, believe that. Truly believe that then. And of course, there's been so many other wild beliefs that whole collectives have believed in, like in the 1700s, when people in France believed that potatoes would cause leprosy, or in the medieval times, when it was believed that if you touch the robes of someone who was royal, you would be healed. So we've had a pretty big, spectrum of beliefs going on here. And the thing about beliefs is when we believe in them, then they become true for us. And all these beliefs, they're limiting us. They're stopping us from living in the true glory and power that belong to us. So we've got to start looking at everything that we think can control us, or that we think can hurt us or harm us, or that is dictating our life. Seeing things that are very popular now. Things like our food. Certain foods can harm, us if we eat them. But of course, as in all beliefs, here in the constantly changing reality, what's true for one isn't true for another. Whereas in the one true divine reality, it's all the same. It's, there is no separation. So when we're thinking about this, we have to consider a lot of things. Do we believe that the moon and its phases affect us? Do we believe that our astrology affects us? Do we believe that, all kinds of things outside of us can control us, can affect us, can hurt us? And of course we do. And especially it's even more difficult when they are collective beliefs, when it becomes that's a scientific thing. Or that is, I saw it on the news, or everybody knows that. Of course it's true. But does it have to be? And does it have to be for you? Now, this for me began when someone told me, who was a very interesting individual, they're like, yeah, your astrology can be true for you, or you can go beyond it, which is something I never would have considered in a million years at the time. It's like, well, so wait, that doesn't have to be true for me? And that really began to kind of open my eyes to a lot of things. So I started seeing other things. I'm like, well, because, this is true, does that have to be true for me? And that, because it always been a really strong thing for me about aging. Because I'm like, well, it doesn't even make sense. I'm like, if we all know that time is an illusion, why are we also all agreeing that we're getting older? Why is that? And because we believe in it, because we see it and it's such an ingrained thing, until we pull ourselves out of these beliefs, it is true for us. But this is where the shift begins, because consciousness is massively being rearranged right now. Our levels of what we thought was true are stripping away in big chunks right now. So it's time for us to really kind of look at the things in our lives that we think are just so solid that, oh, I can't change that. I have this disease and there's no cure for it. Well, for me, if there was a way to get there, there's always a way to get back, because it wouldn't be logical if there wasn't. So think about the things in your life that maybe you're putting your power into, that you're giving your power away to because you believe it has power over you. And certainly when these things become a physical thing, then it becomes a stronger belief because it's happening to you. But if we begin to pull these things apart, then we understand that we can be like, you know what? I don't think that's going to be true for me anymore. And the more you stand in that, like, no, I'm not that person anymore. That's not me. I am this. And if you look at things like multiple personalities, well, it's been very well documented that when one person changes from one personality to another, their physiology changes. They not only, one person can have, let's say, diabetes. Well, the other version, their other personality, doesn't have it. One will have heart disease, another will not have it. One will have green eyes, but when they change to the other personality that they have, they've got blue eyes. Like that. Even their features change. Now this shows the power of the mind and our ability. And this is where we need to begin to expand, because we think, well, I can't change this or I can't change that. Well, maybe it's time for us to rewire and take another look at those ideas and those beliefs, because they don't have to be true for you. And I know, because I've made things absolutely not true for me. So I hope you'll join me in that consideration. And of course, I am your host, Sky Cheyenne, and welcome back once again to Rebuild Reality. It's great to have you guys here as always. I love that everyone can kind of come together and we begin to create this kind of community, because not only do I really appreciate and love your comments, but they help other people too, and I think that that's a really cool thing. But thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for liking or for sharing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you will consider it. And I'm going to see you guys here next time on Rebuild Reality.